Good morning. It is story time, family story time. So today I was thinking today, I'm like, what could I share? There's literally so many stories to share, but I guess it's a matter of what I'm in the mood, some of these stories really are very close to my heart. So I have to be in the proper mood to be able to share them and really relay the passion, really take time to paint the details to do them justice. So today I'm going to share a story about, well, I'll just start telling the story. So I guess it's been maybe 7 or 8 years. I have to go back and reference pictures and look at the dates. I'm not a big date person. It's been about 7 or 8 years. I had laid Gordon down for a nap, and normally I don't lay down with him. Like when he was younger, like I'm not a nap person. I'm full of energy, especially then, always full of energy. Like to lay down and take a nap felt terrible to me. I don't know how I did it either, because that boy nursed all night long and I still had energy during the day. Thank the good Lord for that. So this time when I was laying him down for a nap, I purposely took a few minutes and made myself lay down, and I prayed. And my prayer was, back up a little bit. When he would sleep, I would always go downstairs. We had this huge rug in the living room and these huge windows, and the light shined through. And so I would spend so many hours and just so much time over the weeks, the months and years that we lived there on that rug praying. Sometimes I'd be sitting praying. Sometimes I'd be laying with my face in the carpet praying. It really just depended on what what was going on with me and what I felt led to pray. So, but like I said, this morning I laid in bed with him and he was asleep, and I laid there, and my prayer to Yahweh was, Lord, let my prayers be like arrows. I don't want to miss the mark. Like, put me on an altar, put my brain on an altar, and just burn it. I want all of you and none of me. If I pray, let it be your words. What would you pray, Father? Just like Yeshua only prayed what he heard his Father pray. I was like, Lord, let my words be so intentional and let them match yours. I don't want any of because I'm well aware that even our most well-intended prayers can be, a little selfish, or a little, they may have a little human in it, a little, who knows, even hidden from our sight that we can see. And so I was essentially praying, Lord, even the things that I can't see, that may be selfish or this or that, clean me up. Let my prayers match yours. I never want to miss the mark with a prayer. Let me be, and the prayer was so focused. I mean, I felt like I was sitting at his feet, like just pouring this prayer. And so as I'm in the middle of praying, and like I said, I'm laser focused. Sometimes when I'm praying or when I'm thinking, there's like other files open. So I'll have thoughts on top of thoughts. So even though this is crazy when I'm talking to someone too, and it happens, but I'll be praying or thinking, but then I'm also thinking something here, and then I'm also thinking something here. And you can only imagine how like multifaceted that is and how distracting it can be. I'm not sure if that happens to other people. Surely it does, right? I don't know. But that's how I work. Well, all those parts were tuned into this prayer. And so I felt laser focused. And this thing happened where in front of me came this vision of Jesus spitting in the dirt and putting it over the man's eyes. And I literally, like in my mind's eye, kind of pushed the thought out, and I said, no, I'm really focused on praying. I will not be distracted. So I go back to my prayer about, Lord, a divine exchange, my mind for your mind. Again, the image of Jesus spitting in the dirt, making the paste, comes to my mind again. I push it away again, and I'm like, nope, I am laser focused. There will be no distractions. Third time, same exact image of Jesus spitting in the dirt, making a mud, and putting it on the blind man's eyes. Third time, I said, Lord, am I distracted? Like, is this something coming to distract me because I'm so laser focused on you, or are you trying to tell me something? I said, well, since it happened 3 times, and all this is in my head, I'm speaking in my head to the Lord. I said, since it was the third time, I'm going to look this story up. I know the story. Everybody knows the story. It's where Jesus, spit, healed the blind man's eye. But I looked it up. I took my phone and I Googled it and I read the story. And I'm like, yep, just like I thought. I completely know that story. And I had this feeling to look it up in Aramaic, like look it up in the original. Was it going to be Greek, Aramaic? How close to the original text could I investigate? So I look it up and I think I did find it in Aramaic. And the words, like it reads differently when you look it up like that. But essentially, when Jesus spit in the dirt, it wasn't just to open his blindness, it was to open his mind to the mind of Christ. Or it had something to do with that. And when I read that, my lips are chapped because it's so cold out, so they're bugging me. When I read that, I could not believe it because that was my prayer, a divine exchange. You like open my mind to your mind. And so I don't know how to explain this, but it almost felt like, you know how some people believe in aliens, but if an alien showed up on your door, it'd be like, oh my God, you actually exist. Well, I know that the Lord is there, but I really felt like, oh my gosh, like there's communication here. Like, wow, you heard my prayer and you're answering it. So I get up and I go downstairs and I walk to our backyard. No one's home. Kyler's at school and Brian was either at the fire department or working. I'm not sure where he was. And it was a couple hours before I had to pick Kyler up from high school. Yeah, Kyler was in high school at this point. I go in the backyard and I have my Bible with me and I start spitting in the dirt and making mud. And I know how this looks. I'm a sane person, but I'm like, Lord, like these miraculous things all through the Bible. And I just gotten through reading the Bible cover to cover like this. That's another story. But like I was so intrigued and in love with learning about our Creator. And one of the common threads through everything is that everything is done through faith. So I am down there spitting in the dirt because I'm like, okay, Noah built the ark through faith. Enoch walked with you in faith. Like I'm going to spit in this dirt and I'm going to make a mud and I'm going to put it on my eyes. And Lord, I believe that you are going to open my mind to you. And this I'm speaking out loud. And again, on the other thought, I'm like, please don't let my neighbors be outside. Like this is going to sound ludicrous for anyone to hear. But I don't care at this point. Like I'm aware that I look bonkers doing this, but I don't care because I want this with the Lord more than I care how ridiculous I look, right? Like you got to make that exchange. It's like, yeah, I know how I look, but I want this more. So I make the mud and I put it on my eyes and I'm talking out loud. I'm like, okay, cloud of witnesses, angels, Yahweh, Yeshua, you're probably all laughing at me right now because I'd be laughing at me. I put it on my eyes and it hurts. Like eyelids are sensitive and that was really coarse sand. So that side note. And I don't feel anything. I don't even get Holy Ghost chill bumps. And so I said, I'm like, that's fine. I don't have to feel an emotion. I'm not going to reduce this experience to an emotion. I don't have to feel a human emotion to know that the Lord is going to move on my behalf. Like you're not reduced to my Peasley emotions. So I go to walk inside and I was a little low-key disappointed because I did want to feel something or see something, but it's okay. Like, again, I pushed that back and I'm like, but that's not necessary. Like, that's almost kind of selfish, I thought. Like, I don't have to have a feeling for him to move. Anyway, so I go in the house and wash my face and I stop at the sliding glass door. I said, nope, and I'm talking out loud. I said, in the story, the man walked over to a pool and cleansed his eyes. So we had a pool. So I walk over to our pool and I kneel down and I clean my eyes and I just opened my arms really wide and I looked up and I said, Lord, I love you. I choose to love you. I love you and I thank you. And I can't even remember everything I said, but I was filled with gratitude. And in that moment, this rain starts falling on me and it's falling in the pool and it's kind of cool when little spatters of rain fall. It makes those little bubbles. But it was the warmest rain. And I don't even think it was cloudy that day. And I knew that I was being anointed, but I didn't even know what anointed meant. Like that word just kind of came to my mind. And it made like a tear come down my eyes because I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I had so many emotions. I was in awe over the natural phenomenon that was happening. Like right at that moment, rain starts to fall. So that was amazing. I was in awe that every raindrop that touched my body, I could feel God. I don't know how to explain that. Those those words are cheap because sometimes the human language can't quite put the word on the feeling. Like the English language cannot quite there's no words for the emotion that we feel sometimes. So it's like you cheapen it with words, but I'm going to do the best that I can. So I go inside and I'm engulfed. I am overwhelmed with, it's like the Father was communicating with me. It wasn't a one way. Sometimes I feel like it's one way, like I'm always talking, but this was like, I do think the Lord's always talking with us. It's just a matter of if we can hear. And so it's like the veil was torn, which was torn a long time ago, but we were interacting. It was a two-way street. And so I go in because it's time to pick Kyler up from school now. So I get Gordon. I think I even had to wake him up, and we get in the car to get Kyler. Well, Kyler was still in high school in Gulf Breeze, so I have to go over this big bridge. Well, I'm sitting at a red light before I get to the bridge, and I am overwhelmed with joy still. Like it's to feel heard by the creator of everything, the great I am. That, no words, again, no words. And so I'm sitting there and I look up at the sky and I said, "Oh, Lord, I wish I could see you. I want to see you." And I'm going to put this picture in the comments. I don't know if this has comments or if I can put comments in, but I'm going to try. I'm not quite techie enough to put it with the video. I look up and there is a face in the clouds. Like two eyes, a mouth. It's a complete face. And it's a windy day. And so my phone was in my lap and I pick up my phone and I snap a picture. And it was like my whole body almost froze because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But then I was also just like a flood of, there's no words for the emotion. It's like joy, freaked out, stunned, honored, everything. Again, no word. Maybe there's a word, but I don't know the word. I felt all of that. And I said, "You let me see you. You leaned your face, you took your finger and you let me see you." And he said, I hear this in my mind, "Because you didn't have to see me to believe, you'll always be able to see me." It's like, because I had the faith first, I didn't have to see to believe. Therefore, I'll always be able to see. And it was amazing. It was, I'll never forget that. And I'm so thankful I took a picture. I mean, I barely take pictures of any of us. And thank God I took a picture, because I'll go back and so it wasn't until years later, a couple years later, I showed that, because I didn't share that experience with too many people, because it's so hard to put it into words, but it's beautiful. Well, I looked at the picture and it's a live photo, which means if I hold it down, you can see the things move. Like it catches a really small video. I showed it to a pilot and he said, "Jennifer, the trees are moving so fast," because there's a big oak tree or some kind of tree right there, and you can see that the clouds are very wispy. The fact that a solid image came in and was able to be that solid on such a windy day, he's like, if the tree's moving that fast, it's moving even higher. The wind is even higher, in the higher altitudes. And I don't know, it was an amazing, amazing, amazing experience. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys so that you would hear it firsthand. And that's not just an experience for me. Like, that's all of us. And I think that so many people probably have stories like that, and I hope they share them. But spend time with the Heavenly Father. And don't get secondhand. It's good to hear testimony from people, right? Like, it's good to hear testimony. The word testimony means to do it again. So I am giving you a testimony, and I believe that it can happen again for you. But don't get knowledge secondhand. In other words, don't rely on me teaching you about God. Don't rely on a pastor. Don't rely. Like, of course, I teach Gordon about the Lord, and I teach Kyler when he was younger, but I don't want them to rely on me. I want them to go seek himself, right? To have a firsthand experience themselves. So I encourage you to do that. And that can start at any age. You're not too young. If you're 1 year old, if you're 1 minute old, like, a matter of fact, I think they're the closest maybe, but It's never too early or too late to have an intimate relationship with the Father, the creator of all things. And you don't have to worry. I mean, he knows your every thought before you think it. He has a deposit of himself in you, like that's what's allowing you to breathe is him in you. And you can't be any closer than that. So it's a beautiful relationship. And the more time you spend in a relationship, the more it comes alive, whether that be with a marriage, with a child, with any relationship you have, friendship. And the more time you invest, the more intimate, the more real, the more engulfed, the more experience you will have. So that to me is the most important relationship to invest in. So I love you. Hopefully I can link the picture. But yeah, I love you. I love you very, very much. Bye-bye.